So we got the hot rod Lincoln here, 99 Lincoln Continental. Got the dual overhead cam 4.6. The problem is, it doesn't sound like much of a hot rod. Let's see if we can fix that. Well, there's our first problem. Not one, not two, but three catalytic converters. Then we've got this resonator pipe, which is basically like a cherry bomb. And look at that. We got some lame mufflers back here where the Flowmasters are supposed to be. Now the good news is that this catalytic converter is downstream of both of my downstream O2 sensors, so it can go bye-bye without causing any check engine light problems. And because I'm driving it off-road only, wink wink, we don't have to worry about any emissions problems. I've also got the solution for these lame mufflers, and that's a pair of Flowmaster Super 40s. I went with the 409 stainless steel, so hopefully they last a little longer than the aluminized Flowmasters do. So first thing I got to do, unbolt this flange and get this nonsense out of here. I'm going to cut it right about here and just get this whole pile right out of there. Alright, I've got this anti-hot rod device removed. Now fortunately this car's lived its whole life in Florida, so if you haven't noticed already, it's pretty much all rust free. So I'm going to be able to reuse this flange, cut it off the converter and reuse it. If this had been a native Ohio vehicle, this would be such a rust pile, you probably wouldn't even want to work on it. You'd have to make up some flanges and all kinds of craziness. And what we're going to do, got this piece of 2.5-inch pipe. Going to weld on back here. We're going to take the flange off of that converter, weld that on this end of the pipe, fold it back together, good to go. And just for the fun of it, show you what the inside of that resonator looks like. Like I said, it's basically like a cherry bomb, or a glass pack, whatever you want to call it. That's going to change the tone of the exhaust. We don't need it. It's got to go. And in case you've never seen the inside of a catalytic converter before, that's what that looks like. It's basically just a big ceramic honeycomb. It does a really good job at choking out your exhaust. So you can see why that's got to go. Alright, I got the flange cut off the cat. A little bit of grinding, a little sandblasting. Ready to go. Alright, I got my flange tack welded on where I want it. I had to put this cross member back in to make sure I have clearance. And I got the pipe tack welded back here. Now I just got to pull this cross member down so I can lower the whole pipe down so I can get all the way around and weld both ends up. And we'll get it all back in there, build a hanger for it, and this part will be done. And there's what it looks like all done. Got the flange all welded up. All welded up in the back. Got a hanger on there, so we got plenty of clearance for our cross member. And that's it. Time to start on the mufflers. And this is where it gets a little tricky. You can see the factory pipe, pretty puny compared to the 2.5-inch inlet on this Flowmaster. On the other side, I'll do the same thing on this side. Cut it off as close as I could to that weld. You notice that bend right at the muffler, so you don't have much to work with. So you got to cut it as close as you can to the muffler. And then we got to get a little creative here. Alright, like I said, it took a little creativity. And because you have to cut off the pipe right at the muffler, and it's right on a bend, there's no room for adapters and reducers and all that nonsense. So what I actually had to do is take a 2.5-inch piece of pipe and weld it along the bottom radius of my factory pipe. And then I had to heat up the top and form it around the pipe and then weld that all in. So now I've got a 2.5-inch piece of pipe. I can slide the Flowmaster right on there. Alright, I got the Flowmaster tacked on there where it's going to be. Just got a piece of 2.5-inch pipe in here right now just to line everything up. I'm going to put stainless steel tips on it, but they haven't come in yet, so make sure this is just so I can line everything up with the car. But that's what it looks like. Not my favorite way of doing things, but unless you've got a pipe bender to remake all these pipes, which I don't. That's about the best I could come up with. I went ahead and put some high temp paint on all my welds. Even though I know it's probably going to burn off on my way home, at least it makes me feel a little bit better. Maybe it'll slow down the rust a little bit. Probably not, but at least I can say I tried. See, that's what it looks like all done. Not the prettiest thing, but best I could do with what I had to work with. Same thing on this side. Now I've still got my straight pieces of 2.5 inch pipe on there right now because, like I said, my tips aren't here yet. When they get here, I'll go ahead and slap those on and finish it, but at least this way I can drive it home. And that's it. The sound level inside the car is actually a lot more mellow than I expected.